Hello, people. This is Squash Corner, and this is a video I always wanted to make, but I feel like I never felt comfortable talking about it because, times change, all that good stuff. But basically, I was a former Disney adult back in the day where I used to go. They used to have these passes, like if you're in California, you could go 3 times, and it was relatively affordable. It'd be like $200, but you could go 3 times. You could pick what park you want to go. Um, Now I'm not. Like I don't really mess with Disney like whatsoever. Uh, I was a huge big fan of older Disney because like I kind of get both sides of Disney adults being cringe, and also there's a reason people are so into it. Like I feel like a lot of people grew up with some portion of Disney because it's been in a group for a very long time. So for me, it was like the VHS era, which was a big deal. So the idea you go to a park, like you see the characters, you go on the rides, all that stuff. It was peak. And Disney was always expensive, but it wasn't this expensive. Like what really kicked me off was I want to say the cultural shift and also how ridiculously expensive it got. And my feelings why Disney adults are cringy is they don't say no to the big company. I want to say peak Disneyland, if you're super into that, was like 2016 and before, or like 2015 before. Like right when Galaxy's Edge opened, a lot of changes weren't made very much, and I felt like it was still relatively affordable. It would be one of those things like you go once a year, once every 2 years, and even going that many times kind of feels like a privilege because people have to go. It's only in California. Same thing with Disney World. It's only in Florida. So you have to travel there. So I had the privilege of going once a year or even potentially 3 times because they had that pass. So I feel like what makes this cringy is like I still buy these things. I'm a part of the problem, I would say. But what kicked me out was the pricing, and I feel like Disney adults don't know how to say no to like we used to boycott, we used to protest when prices get too high, and we're living in a time where we're just submitting. Like McDonald's prices not affordable anymore. Disney prices, well, you could argue were never affordable, but it just got worse and worse, and the quality and the preaching just got too much. So my issue here is I was like, I would go to Disney like every year for the past like 20 something years. And then what made me stop was it's just not worth it anymore. Why is it not worth it? A lot of besides the prices, a lot of things there was like weird cultural shift. The reason I said I didn't want to make this video earlier was because I want to again 2016 era past that a lot of changes were made related to what exactly. Well, again, I'm an old school kind of Disney guy, or at least like 2000s and before. So the Splash Mountain changes, I just wasn't feeling it, and seeing the end result of how that ride became, not even about the cultural stuff. Splash Mountain had like 50 animatronics. This one has a fraction of that many animatronics. I'm not big on the screens either. I didn't like in scary Snow White's Scary Adventures. I feel like I'm into horror now because I used to be scared of that ride. Haunted Mansion 2, I used to be too scared of it, so I used to go on Splash Mountain instead because it was right next to Haunted Mansion. But I feel like that actually, once I got older, I appreciated it more, and all the props that you physically could see made it kind of magical. And this is the thing: I have many friends, or what's it called? Like my dad's a good example. He's like Disneyland lame, always lame, and I'm like, how about the Matterhorn? How about Pirates? How about Haunted Mansion? They have the best. Like if you're a amusement park guy, not even a Disney guy, they have a handful of the best rides you could go to in the entire world. So that's a big deal. But the problem is they pushed out people that could afford it, and people who are so desperate to get that magic back pay that money and just accept it. My issue with Disney adults, there's no such thing as no. They will figure it out. And figuring it out means I'm gonna go into debt. I'm gonna what's it called? I'm not gonna have kids so I could afford to go to Disney. It's ridiculous. And I feel like it's the money, it's the preachiness where it's like you pretend you have an opinion, like you know what I mean? Like I didn't like the Splash Mountain changes, whatever. They don't care. It was a whole culture shift of just like Disney is like, you might be the problem. And then because the fans are so fucking into it, they're like, hey, I'm in Disney side right now. You're the problem if you don't like these changes. I feel like I feel bad for the Disney fans because they don't know how to say no because that was their whole life, especially how long the company was there for. But also, it's like I feel like Disney doesn't even know how to say no. Like, I'm not going in debt because of the situation, and it is a little rough that I used to get hit by like strollers with like a little baby when I was like walking in the parks and all that stuff. Now we're getting hit by 200, 300 pound monstros hitting you with their Segway thing. And yeah, I miss the good old days. I want to say 2016 and before, peak time. I would defend it to death. But after that, no. And I feel like the fans, if you're really into Disney and stuff like that, have to know how to vote with your wallets and say no. And that's all I have to say. I'm still a part of the problem. I'm still a part of the problem. But just this cultural shift is horrendous. And hopefully things get better. But it's a big mouse company. It's not gonna get better. That's all I have to say. Bye.